Okay, we are live. Sorry. Great away win from the boys. Start out with a little bit different starting 11 as Tyler Miller got the flu, so Dane St. Clair comes in as his replacement and played absolutely outstanding with a penalty save. And honestly, just going to say right off the top, my man of the match. There's no questions that Danes should be the man of the match. He absolutely got us the 3 points. Penalty save, making saves throughout the whole game, left and right. It was really, really nice to see Dane back in full form, just flying through the air. It was the Dane St. Clair we remembered from his year where he took over from Tyler and played outstanding that whole season. And it wasn't the Tyler we saw, or the Dane that we saw in Portland, that was a little bit nervous, shaky. He stepped in and played outstanding, and I really think that penalty save gave him a huge burst of confidence, not only in the game today, but I think in his game in the future. And I know this might sound unfortunate for Tyler Miller, but I don't think you can drop Dane St. Clair after his performance tonight. I really don't. I think it's one of those performances where he's undroppable in this case. After a performance like that, I really, really think he is undroppable. After that, he was outstanding. A 10 out of 10 for me. Yeah. And so we start bad. I mean, I wouldn't say the start was bad, but we had a couple chances, or each team had a bit of possession, but a very unlucky handball from Dotson. And I'm not even going to blame Dotson. He was shielding the defender, and yeah, his hands out a little bit, but it was a very unlucky handball. But I mean, ball doesn't lie, and Dane comes up with a huge penalty save. And after that, you kind of felt like something was on. Dane was hot. We were hitting on him on the counter, but we just weren't finding that final ball. And that's one thing I'm going to have to be critical on our attack. They were very, very how do I say this? They didn't take their opportunities well. We'll put it as that, because Ray had 2 breakaways where realistically he's got to score one. And the first one he did a very, very poor job of creating anything out of it. The other one, he does take a shot. Wish it was a little better. I thought Ray was definitely dictating play for us. He hit some really, really good passes, but then there was the other side of Ray where he was hitting the wrong pass, taking too many touches. But he played. But I think it's just because we have such a high standard for Ray. When he does mess up, it makes it more, disappointing, because you know how good of a player he is and how well he can perform. So him messing up a couple times in the counter was really disappointing, after he could have had 2 great goals. And then another counter late where Araga to, I think it was Ray again, who messed it up. I don't want to blame Ray too much, but I think Ray messed that up too. And Araga had an amazing run off that wing on the counter late in the game too. So that's one thing our offense needs. If we have that many countering opportunities and high percentage opportunities like that, where we have a one-on-one with a goalie or one-on-one with a defender, and we can't create something, because one of those early ones, Yearwood knew that Ray wanted to get back onto that left foot, when he could have easily just kept it on his right. And even though he wants to get it on his left, you might not be able to get it onto that left foot, and you could put a ball in, take a near post shot. Might not be a high percentage shot, but it's really better than giving the ball away right away like he did in that early. I think that was his first breakaway. But that would be my only gripe because St. Clair was outstanding. The defense being as it was, Dotson playing on a right back, which we all know he's not a right back. He's a midfielder, but he can play right back or left back. But with O'Neill, Fisher with the injury, Dabasi was injured, and Gasper was on the bench. But I think Gasper was only on the bench for precautionary reasons with that concussion protocol stuff, and he's been wearing protective headgear in training. So I think it was really just precautionary in case we really lastly needed a defender, because it was only him and Nabi Kabubuchi. I totally probably butchered his last name. I'm sorry. But those were only really two defenders on the bench with all the injuries that we had. So DJ Taylor and Hassani Dotson were our backs with Gasper or Coleman and Boxall as our center back pairing. Because we really didn't have any other defenders on our bench, and Fred Emmings was our backup goalie. So there was no, if St. Clair got hurt, Fred was going to be thrown into the wolves because there was no Eric Dick for whatever reason. So that was quite interesting, but I thought we played really good and we hit them on that counter quite well. There was plenty of opportunities where we should have done better, but I was just blown away at how well St. Clair was today. It was really good to see. One thing, Reynoso just gets fouled a bunch. That's one thing that I'll give him some credit for, is he gets fouled more than any other player on the team in the league. And you'd think the refs would maybe protect some of their star players, but the way that teams just target him is getting sickening. But Amarillo with an absolute beautiful finish in the second half. Shortly after halftime, we had a corner. Ray puts the ball in, goes through the box, ends up at Dotson at the top of the box, puts another ball in for a great finish from Luis Amarillo, who owed us a couple more goals, maybe 20 some more this year or something like that. But it was good to get him off the tally and a 3-point away win, which was really good. And after that, we had, like I said, we had our chances. We were hitting them on the counter. We just didn't take the last pass or last opportunity quite well. But Curvin Araga was, if it wasn't for Dane, would have been my man of the match besides Dane, because he was absolutely unreal today. And can't wait to see this guy in person because he was outstanding. And it's being reported that we only bought him for 50 grand roughly. And that is an absolute steal in today's market. 24-year-old Honduran international. I really don't know how we got away with that business after paying 4x million for Adrian Hunu. So no slight on Hunu. Maybe, European players are definitely going to cost a little bit more, but Curvin looks like an absolute baller of a player in the midfield. So get into the player ratings. I'll start out with St. Clair, 10 out of 10, as you know, man of the match. Dotson, playing out of position, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10, or actually a 6. I'll give him a 7 out of 10. He got the assist, playing out of position. I'm not going to be too harsh on him. Actually, a 6.5. The handball, he was playing out of, we'll go 6.5. I think 6.5 is fair. But he was playing out of position and played quite well for playing out of position. Even though he is a bit of a liability at right back, I'd say sometimes, but he does well. I'm not going to say he's the best right back, but in the situation we are, where he's a great utility player for other positions that aren't in the midfield. But when he plays in the midfield, that is his position. But Yeah. I think 6.5 is fair. Maybe a little harsh, but Michael Boxall and Brett Coleman, I'm gonna give them 6. Here, we'll do this. Dotson 7, Coleman and Boxall 6.5. I think that's a bit fair. That's more fair for me, I think. Just because I feel like St. Clair had so much to do. Not that Boxall and Coleman didn't help, but um, when your goalie has to do all the things that he did, sometimes your defenders aren't quite defending as well as they could be. DJ Taylor, I'm going to give a 6 out of 10. Played all right, gave us some good width defensively, or I'll give him a 6.5 as well. Got the clean sheet, so yeah, that's fair to me. It's being a little bit harsh on the guys for the performance today. But midfield, Curvin Araga, 9 out of 10. Played outstanding today. Will Trapp picked up a yellow. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Actually, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I thought there was times where he could have been a little bit better with possession. But Captain Will was awesome today. Lod, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. A good performance, not great. Reynoso, a 8, or no, not an 8. I wanted to give him a high, he just wasn't good enough today, I don't think. I wanted to give him a higher score than he's just so crucial to our attack, but he just was very wasteful on our attack, so I'm going to have to give him a 6. Yeah, a 6. I'm going to be a little bit harsh on Ray. Need a little bit more out of him. Just in that final third, I think his decision making can get a little bit to him. And I'm only giving him a 6 just because of the yellow and the 2 or 3 breakaways that he kind of squandered. He was very crucial to how we move the ball and attack. Passing wise, I might be a little bit harsh on him. I could be giving him a 6.5, but I just think that his standard is so high that we need to see a little bit more out of him. Franco Francopane, I'm going to give a 6. Not his best game, but put in a nice shift. Luis Amarilla, an 8 out of 10. Great finish. Didn't get quite as much service as I bet he'd liked, but he's starting to get the ball to him a bit more, and he's starting to play a little bit better with the attack. So it was a great finish from Luis. And yeah, it's very great finish. If it wasn't for St. Clair and Curvin just being absolute ballers, he would have definitely got the man of the match for the goal and everything. But St. Clair definitely won us that game with how many saves that guy made. My goodness. Now we'll get into the substitutions. Bongo Halongoe, I thought ran around quite a bit. Wasn't his best cameo coming off the bench, but put in a nice little shift off the bench. I'm going to give him a 6.5 out of 10. Joseph Roles, a 6 out of 10. Little cameo off the bench. I wish he would have done a little bit better wasting time at the end. Was caught off sides, just being a little bit naggly, I guess, in my of observations. Just wishing he would have take a little bit more time off the clock when we were wasting time towards the end of the game. And then Ja'Cory Hayes, I'm going to also give a 6. Ran around a little bit, had a very bad foul at the end of the game, but they didn't really quite capitalize on that free kick, and that would be the end of our squad for player ratings. A couple of guys only got a couple minutes, but they didn't quite make that changing factor. But a really good 3 points, an away 1-0 win. And as always, come on, you loons. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, shoot them in the comments and I'll get to them. Thank you.